Welcome to all you She-Hanites.
So how have you been?
Puddin',
I heard you went to see a movie.
a white fruit roll-up, The Rock's movie. Shing. That's the People's Eyebrow, by the way, from when he was in wrestling, People's Eyebrow. Puddin', do it with both of them. See?
No, not that Steve Austin. I'm talking about
Oh.
this $6 million man.
Take me to your cheerleader. He's a ninja.
I need a bloomin' onion.
Black Adam was good. It was fun. When Scott and I first heard about this movie, I'm like, what do I care, right? But then it was like, hey, there's a special mid-credit scene.
Oh, yeah, by the way, spoilers.
This is big. And you probably knew about it, but again, So once I found out Henry Cavill was going to appear in the movie, I was so excited. So I go see the movie. The story is like paper thin, right? It's like thinner than my grayest hair, right? Hawkman was cool. Aldous Hodge. Some of the comedy in it was a little too, pumped in, but some of it worked for me. Like they were trying to be funny and it worked. Like I actually giggled a bit at some of it. The action was fun. It was way cool. If you're looking for something that's going to rivet you or, like grab your soul, this ain't the movie. But if you want something that's going to, give you an excuse to eat popcorn and Twizzlers, a la your boy Sheehan's nephew, then definitely go see it. It's a lot of fun. And the spectacle, it's just a spectacle. It's like a giant wrestling match, like The Rock specialty. It incorporates the JSA, the Justice Society of America, and like even DC themselves, the comics, hasn't known what to do with the JSA since like Jeff Johns was writing it in the 90s. One day, the man, the myth, the king of art, Jason Fabek is going to be on the show. And, him and Jeff Johns are like this. Jeff, Jason, do you like my Chase Meridian? Hello there, Batman.
I think that would be very powerful.
It would. It would definitely get their attention. Then we talk about the JSA, Green Lantern, and Three Jokers. Be like, Jay. Can I call you Jay? Jay. Before we get started, let me ask you about Chase Meridian. What do you think of that riveting Oscar-worthy rooftop performance she had with Val Kilmer? Not once, but twice.
It was Val's breath, actually.
The mid-credit scene of Black Adam was a lot of fun. It ties into BBS in that Superman says, again, spoilers, Superman says, Black Adam, it's been a while since someone's made people so afraid. We need to talk, because as you remember, Scott, in Batman versus Superman, the whole plot running through the movie was, is Superman good for society? Is he bad for society?
Now, one of the things that you had me read, there was a scene where Superman goes and talks to Black Adam.
Doomsday Clock.
It is in Doomsday Clock. It's brief, but it's there. Was it a similar tone to that kind of a thing?
Yes, but Superman was the one talking. He said those words, and Black Adam just kind of looks at him like, yeah, we'll see. And then
I think he did. I thought there was some text from him though too. I thought he did comment briefly, but I thought he said
in the book, yes, but in the movie, it was he was talking to Amanda Waller, who runs the Suicide Squad Task Force X. Okay. So the great Paul Dini, who was the story editor, then one of the main writers on Batman the Animated Series, but Bruce Timm and Paul Dini came up with a character, Harley Quinn, and she's actually a psychiatrist. She ends up going to treat the Joker so that she can get the credentials to write a book. An actual episode of the Season 4 Batman Animated Series, The New Adventures of Batman and Superman. It's called Mad Love. And in it shows the retcon of how she came to be.
Now, did she first appear in the cartoon or in the
Yes.
So she was first in the cartoon. Okay.
Right. And she was so popular in the cartoon that she became mainstream into the DC universe. Mm-hmm. There's actually a Batman Adventures comic from the 90s where she first appears, and it's worth thousands of dollars graded.
She's back that far, eh?
Yeah, back I'd say roughly 93. She's the psychiatrist who thinks she's going to get the credentials to write a big book about the Joker, make a name for herself, get to know the Joker. in that short period of time, he drives her mad and she falls in love with him.
Nah,
She just kind of gets carried away with whatever the energy is that she's in. To hear her call Joker Puddin' in live action, the way she has in the cartoon, it was like, yeah, like I was so giggled up. That's right. He should have disarmed her because he's a ninja. That's the short version.
give a thumbs up if you like what we're doing.
Yeah, thumbs up, subscribe.
So, speaking of things watched, in between this episode and our last, I watched The Image Revolution.
Like a speed freak that stuck his finger in a light socket.
He's kind of like the Michael Bay of comic books.
Based on the suggestion of Omar, the Uncanny Omar. We'll put a link in the description down below. That was our last episode. We got to spend some time with Omar. And he's,
what a great guy. What a great guy.
Super fun, insightful. He shares, like how he approaches the books and how he tells the story and why he started doing the reading orders. So if you're not familiar with Omar, check it out. We'll give you some backstory and check out his YouTube channel, Brian, which is
Near Mint Condition. That's my go-to for all my omnibus breaking news and reviews and first looks. If Omar was a book, he'd definitely be an Omni.
Speaking of that, Brian, you have a code to share?
For organicpricebooks.com. The coupon code is Sheehan is Dead at checkout under the promo or apply coupon. You're going to save $2, and it also lets them know that you enjoy the show.
Cool. Would you like to share something?
So this is Miles Morales.
Oh yes, that came in. We've been talking about that for months.
This came out about a week ago or so. Pick this bad boy up. Or I may hold on to it as an investment because people really love Miles Morales, and if it sells out again, you know what I mean? This one here, I'm excited to read this one because I tried to keep up on it when it first came out. I had some of the singles, but I never really broke it down. And I'm interested. And there's a volume 2 coming. And again, all these Omnis that I'm telling you guys about, I learned about them, that they were coming out and how prescient they were and how quickly they sold out before at near mint condition with Omar. This one is Ultimate X-Men. This is actually the printing of the omnibus. They haven't had an omnibus before.
Now, does that cover different titles and bring different titles together, or is it all just one?
It's all it's Ultimate X-Men 1 through 33, then number half, and Ultimate War 2001, 2002.
Okay.
Ultimate X-Men 1 through 33 is 2001 and the half. And Ultimate War is 2002, 1 through 4. It was like I forgot the number. There was the Ultimate Universe and then the 616 universe. 616 is like our universe with them. Okay. And the Ultimate one is like, a whole different universe. But they've since combined them.
So like the X-Men mags were still running,
right?
Separately, whatever they were, the Jim Lee stuff or wherever who was doing X-Men and Uncanny, those were still happening. And then you had Ultimate over here.
Yeah, like the Batman Earth 1 stories. Yeah, I'm interested to look into it. And it's like the depictions on the character, like I think Wolverine, if I heard right, he's like starts as a villain. Yeah, it was like as if you took the picture on like if you had a white fruit roll up and then just like stamped the picture on there and then colored it in. That's what it was like. It was like that shiny. It was beautiful. Like it was beautiful to look at. It was
and
awesome.
It smelled good too.
Oh, dude!
You get variant covers. You get like the banana cover, the strawberry cover, raspberry.
Yeah, I think X-Men would have definitely been a blueberry. So I had like the first like handful or like first 15 or 20. And again, those were the same ones that came in the mail, Scott. Go back like 2 episodes or 1 episode and you'll know about that.
Did they come damaged too?
Oh, it was super bummer because like those comics, those were like super like, especially in Wizard, like the hottest thing, like they were so hot, like the flame wasn't even red and orange. It was like white. It was like white hot.
I actually was having a conversation at the con with a dude that I bought some mags from. And I'm like, okay, what is Uncanny versus X-Men versus, whatever.
He wasn't like, here, let me pull out a chair and let's sit down and break some bread and go over.
No, he was cool with it. He was cool. But he was like, I said, so did the Uncanny end and then X-Men started? Of course, X-Men being issue 1, Jim Lee, and then moving on. And he's like, no, then they continue to run parallel, which I didn't understand. I didn't really know how that worked. So both issues were running at the same time. How they interplayed or didn't, I don't fully understand at this point. But he said then ultimately, I guess Uncanny did finally end. So Uncanny ended at like 544, and X-Men has continued on to this day. That's why I commented to you a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, dude, like 70% of the contemporary comics are X-Men, Superman, and Batman. If you took those off the shelf, there'd be a lot less stuff to look at.
X-Force.
I got some X-Force. I'm not going to share those today, though, at the con.
All right. Avengers versus X-Men.
Oh, wow.
There was another cover of this, but look at how awesome this is.
Yes.
And Sparks.
Who's the artist? Do we know who the artist is?
Oh, who was this? Forget who it was.
Oh, yeah. It's not going to get credit for the cover on the back.
Yeah, it'll be on the inside of the book. I just haven't taken the plastic off yet. And here's another tidbit of why Omar is so awesome. Now look at how fat you could kill someone with this.
Boom.
Right? So Omar is doing an overview of this thing, near mint condition. And he's like, he breaks down what it's about and who like the central player is. And then he's like, there is a prequel that's not involved in this, and it's really cheap right now. But who knows if it's going to be sold out soon. So the day he printed, like he made the video that it posted,
yes.
The name of it was Avengers X Sanction.
Okay.
So he's like, you should really read this before you read Avengers versus X-Men to give you a better understanding and like a short highlight. A vision of, it's like a Michael Bay film.
He's kind of like the Michael Bay of comic.
In comic book form. And if you know who Michael Bay is, that's all you need to know. And look at how awesome the cover is, though. You see the shing, like Geo, like it's just such an awesome cover. They can smell each other's breath. That's
why they're so angry.
You ate my hot dog. This here is Batman Shadow War, and the premise sounds awful familiar. When Deathstroke assassinates Ra's al Ghul, hello, son of Batman. Talia al Ghul demands revenge, hello, son of Batman, and sends her League of Shadows to kill Deathstroke and Deathstroke Inc. Hello, son of Batman. Batman and Robin must team up to track down Deathstroke, hello, son of Batman, and bring him to justice. Or do they? This crossover event has a major impact on the DC universe. It's written by Joshua Williamson, who they're trying to push as like they're like the next Jeff Johns. The art is really beautiful. It's drawn by Howard Porter, who drew, if you remember the button, Jason Fabry,
yeah, sure.
The artist. It was the other artist, Howard Porter. He's been around a long time. And Victor Bogdanovich, his art is nice too. And Steven Segovia, love his art. So there's a lot of good art. But again, I'm concerned that this is just going to be like couple of words, son of Batman, couple of words, son of Batman imitation. This looks cool. Batman looks awesome. Look at the under the dust jacket. Like it's just like, so I'm jazzed to read it.
Cool.
Jazzed about that. That's my haul. So be on the lookout for Uncanny X-Men Volume 5. Go to Organic Price Books, and Yu Sheehan is dead at the checkout part and the coupon code. Uncanny X-Men Volume 1 all the way to like right at or right before Onslaught. So we'll see.
Well, thank you for sharing those good things. This time we're going to go back to Kirby. So what I have here is something that Brian had shipped to me from Organic Price Books back in the summertime. Here we go.
Woo!
So this is part of the Fourth World Omni #1. And I picked this because I thought
it's an absolute.
It's an absolute. That's why it doesn't fit. It's so big here. But there was some things. Here's Spawn down here in the lower corner. Spawn before Todd McFarlane was Todd McFarlane. So I don't know what year this is because they pulled that out of the Omnis, unfortunately, but it was 25-cent cover issue. And we're talking about it. Look at this Slig. I mean, what kind of a name
Orion versus Slug? Slig?
Slig. Not even Slug. It's Slig. I guess this might be Slig. I'm not sure.
But whose very touch means death.
Yes. A classic Kirby. Two super beings locked in battle. One must die. Follow this mighty saga in the New Gods. And then to make it even better, you've got, remember we were talking, first of all, the way this pops out, Spawn. And the thing is, apparently in this, at least, it's not actually a character. Apparently Spawn is a place. It says, I got the glare, I can't, is the name given to this point in the saga of the great Celestials. The Spawn is alive and huge and throws its giant shadow across the seas of Earth, which is just kind of fun. But it's one of those issues, if I don't know if it picks up in the camera, but it's like the photocopy stuff blended in with the artwork that we had talked about at different times, where Kirby every so often would throw that in.
It looks like he's in the middle of space. That's so trippy.
Yeah, it's weird. So that was fun. And then it opens up in this giant 2-page splash, just like boom, this giant guy, you know. And then your main character is now reduced to this size. The guy we're just looking at is this small, to show you the scale of like this giant thing. He says, the Promethean galaxy, the place of the giants, alive, chained to the fragments of the devices they used in their attempt to smash the final barrier. So, classic Kirby excitement.
Wait a minute. How's it smell?
Oh man, it smells great because it's an absolute.
Absolute's just.
Yeah, it's very inky and very glossy. So this guy's eating a sandwich right here.
My guy.
He's enjoying that sandwich. Coming back to the con, what I did leading up to it, I looked at the people who were there to see if there was anyone that was of interest. And
see any mutants in the crowd?
Mutants?
Yeah, like real mutants.
I tried not to look that hard. I did see a Harley Quinn, and she might be in video. If I can, I'm going to mix in some of the video. What I ended up doing is I took my phone and I stuck it in the breast pocket of my jacket. There was this little chickapee who was there with I'm assuming her father, and she had like a leather jacket and she had her blonde hair and whatever else, and she was carrying barbed wire wrap baseball bat over her shoulder as she was walking the show.
That's cool.
Ghost Rider was there, R2D2 was there, one of the Death Troopers was there.
No Chewie.
No, Chewie. I think he got COVID again for the 4th time.
Must have.
Yeah, he wasn't there, but there was a couple of lesser known Star Wars characters. The one artist who stood out to me was Mr. Bob Wiacek. He was there. And so I said, well, what I thought it would be fun to do would be to see if I can find one of his magazines at the show and then take it over to him and ask him to sign it. And so he was the regular inker on the Uncanny X-Men from 159 to 176.
Appreciate that.
Oh, of course. I just got one more, and then I'll let you have at it.
So I like to see. And this guy who has is that Rogue?
X-Men 168, yeah.
He wants that?
Yeah, I'm back for another one.
In the title, right?
Yes, sir, please.
This one? Yeah.
The Western I don't know, I can't see him, bro.
Thanks.
This is your marker?
It's your marker.
According to Wikipedia, which apparently was wrong, he had done the original series of Man-Thing 1 through 11. And so I went to, remember, Excellent Adventures, we've been up there, and they had some Man-Thing from the first series dating back to 79. And this says that he had done 1 through 11. And so they found 2 that were in there. It was like issues 6 and 7. So I asked the kid who was working the counter, I said, you know, I'm looking for a specific artist. Are you cool, like, opening these for me? And so he pulled them out, and neither of them were Wiacek. So note to self, don't take, as we all know, everything on Wikipedia to heart. So this is not Wiacek, but this is one of the last things I got. This was, I don't know, I guess it's a trade. It's soft cover. You know, it's got the stiff board and, you know, the nice glossy internals. The reason I got it is so this was written by Simonson and it was painted by Greg and Tim Hildebrand. And I don't know if you're familiar with those names, Brian, but these guys were huge in the 70s. They did a lot of Tolkien things, a lot of fantasy work. They did Star Wars work. There's really beautiful pictures.
Is that one of the artists on the Lord of the Rings extras?
Could be because that was kind of they did like I said they did like Tolkien calendars for a number of years, Smog and whatever exciting scene from whatever one of the Tolkien Middle Earth books, and they're just really great fantasy. Anyway, Tim has since passed away, and I actually have a 1978 I think it's a San Diego Comic-Con special thing. They were on a panel or something. They both signed it. I've got that for sale in Hudson Fine Books. But this one's signed by Greg. This came out after Tim passed away. Well, no, I don't think that's true. But anyway, it's signed by Greg. Greg's now 83 years old. And I figured, well, Greg isn't going to be around forever. So it just seemed like a fun thing to have. Plus, I always enjoyed their artwork, and the fact that it was Superman, I thought was cool. So that was at the end. This was an issue that I had in my collection already. So I had Bob sign this one, and this is Star Wars number 13. So this was the original adaptation ended with issue 6, and so we're within the first year of Marvel trying to deal with telling a Star Wars story without Luke and Darth Vader showing up at the same time, as we know that they were told not to do. So it was Infantino on the cover, and I believe internally Carmine, yes. And then actually, so Mr. Wiacek did not do the inking inside. He did the cover only. But we could see. So I thought that was just kind of fun because I bought this. I purchased this again recently within the last 10 years, but I had bought this off the newsstand as a kid. And so it was kind of a special. I found this in one of the stands. I just thought it was a beautiful cover. It's Will's Pistachio, X-Men issue 280 or 290. And what year is it here? 1992, and it just seems like it ends on a huge cliffhanger. Apparently she and Forge had been kind of somewhat romantically involved, and it ends with Forge walking out and saying, "I've asked you to marry me. I know you don't need me. I'm leaving with Mystique." And then on the last page, let me open it up here. On the last page, after he walks out, she's crying in the rain, and she's saying, "I was going to say yes." And it was, yeah. So just like, just like great cover, and sounds like a great story. I haven't read the whole thing, but very powerful. And we'll end on this one. This was kind of the cap off.
That's Kitty Pryde, right?
It's Kitty Pryde. This is the first issue that's considered as Kitty Pryde as an adult. And it's fun because I didn't have this one in the collection. This was one I ended up actually finding that day. And the thing that's fun about it is that he used this cover in his artwork or his splash screen for the show. When you see his name, this was the cover that he was displaying next to his name. And then when you got to his table, he was actually wearing a shirt that also had this artwork on it. So this was like his favorite cover that he inked. And so I was able to have him sign it. And then, so it's of course it's fun because it's the Uncanny X-Men number 168. So relatively earlier. And it opens up with this: Professor Xavier is a jerk. So Kitty Pryde in 1983, I believe it is. Yeah, 83. Kitty Pryde is upset with Professor, and so that was very cool. Yeah, so those are the highlights from the show. It was fun. I wish you had been there with me. Watching the channel, you probably realize we've had a little bit of a gap. in between our episodes here. And that's because, in part, we were building the Sheehan Memorial Theater and Screening Room. And we got that together. And so one of the new features that we want to do on occasion here on the show is be able to offer some reviews of quality films. And so quality films. So to kick that off, we're going to have our inaugural effort on that here tonight.
So when we were building the theater, I was insistent upon the smell of fresh popcorn and broccoli farts. So just imagine the smell of popcorn and broccoli farts mixed together, and that's what we're enjoying here. That's the full scope.
We spared no expense.
You can't have too much of one or the other.
No, we've done a lot of testing. We went all out here. So here we go. Star Crash, 1978. This was supposedly not derivative of Star Wars, although according to Wikipedia, it's widely regarded as a cash-in on the unprecedented success of Star Wars. It was filmed in Rome. The bad guy's name is Count Zarth. This had a $4 million budget.
Really?
As compared to Star Wars, which was $11 million. Now, as we look at this here, so she's the main protagonist. And again,
of course,
significant license was taken in her outfit compared to what it actually looks like in the film. The way that he's looking here, this was the main male protagonist. The fact that he's like looking off camera to who knows where, that pretty much explains his acting.
It looks like Luke Skywalker in a Michael Jackson outfit.
I know, right? It's ridiculous.
In a Michael Jackson jumpsuit.
But you have to realize that this predates Beat It by like 5 years. So
maybe Michael Jackson was a fan of Crash.
Yeah, Star Crash. And then this guy here is a dude in a suit, and he's supposedly the lawman. These guys are like, they're not rebels, but they're like they're smugglers of some sort. And so again, not derivative. And I'll just quote here what we have to say. Cozy is the director. He says, Cozy has stated that although people assume Star Crash was an attempt to capitalize on the popularity of Star Wars, the design of the picture and its script were developed prior to the release of Star Wars. So we'll let you be the judge of that as you watch the clips we'll share. But that's what he claims. And then there's a surprise star here, a surprise cast member, which we're not going to call out because we don't want to ruin it, but probably the largest name, an attempt to do the parallel of Alec Guinness, Christopher Plummer. He was fairly successful, maybe not to the level of Alec Guinness, but he did Sherlock Holmes, and he did a lot of things to a fairly, I think he may have even won an Oscar. So he had a role in this. The music score was done by none other than John Barry, who is the man who created the James Bond theme. So they attempted to sprinkle some fairy dust on this thing. Okay. So this is the opening scene.
I can hear it. This looks nothing like Star Wars now.
I know, it looks totally not like Star Wars. An opening sequence. I mean, and so they get attacked. There's a battle coming into it. Very colorful universe. The pacing is horrific. Here comes the attack. They're about to get attacked by jello blobs.
Wow.
Doesn't it make you think of the first year of Star Trek?
It makes me think of the first Superman.
Oh, yeah? They're going insane. So apparently the ship gets overrun. At least it's 3 space pods. Space pods. And that's the other thing that's really great about it too, is there's so much reuse of the same footage over and over again. So they get captured. the two protagonists. And well, so here they are.
Cops. As Thor, chief of the Imperial Police, I order you to surrender at once.
Look at that. Like, they're not sure if he's Star Wars.
Hello, you cheap smuggler. I am Police Robot L. You have the right to remain silent.
Or Doctor Who.
I'm just thinking to myself, how did this thing cost $4 million? They probably had to pay $3 million to the special surprise actor.
This is the guy who's comparable to Darth Vader, I guess. Like he's like Count Narth.
Come to me, Golem.
So the quote unquote good guys get captured. They're being sentenced.
Having considered all the arguments, studied all the videotapes, the accusations, we condemn you to forced labor for life in the penal colony of Nocturne the Second. This session is...
Okay, so she just got sentenced. Lucas was influenced by this film.
Oh, definitely. You can see it.
This is the only conclusion you can draw. So she just got sentenced to life on a penal colony. And so we jump to where the next scene is she's on the penal colony. And this is what she has to say about it.
I've been at this for 12 straight hours. The radiation will burn my skin off. We're not slaves.
It's going to burn my skin off. Don't you think maybe she put some clothes on if that was a concern? And she's not a slave.
But there must be a way to escape.
So of course they escape. She escapes. And hilarity ensues. Here we go. Here's our reveal.
Teens discharge mental projections of monsters in our brains. There's the control panel.
I guess that's her "don't burn my skin off" outfit.
That must be it. That must reflect radiation.
She's got to be sweating in real life, though. It's going to be ridiculously warm.
She's walking like her skin got burned off.
Now, destiny must take its course.
Who would film that?
No, we can't allow
To
this
walk.
to happen.
Spend
must destroy it.
10 seconds walking that.
This really looks like a bad student film.
Yeah. Oh, look at that entrance. Hold that thought.
Kill them if you have to.
I mean, if that's not scary than Vader, I don't know what is, man.
Yeah, man. Look at that cape. It's beautiful.
There's nothing like a lightsaber duel featuring the Hoth. So the main guy takes it on the shoulder.
Oh my goodness.
He's out of action. And the Hoth comes in. That Scarab is so good.
I'm still trying to figure out how it costs $4 million. I really don't understand.
Well,
compared to $11 with Star Wars. One makes me want to make popcorn and Twizzlers, and the other one just makes me want to have a scotch, you know?
It doesn't really make me want to do anything. Again, just with the thought of, no, we were not copying Star Wars. So this is the grand finale battle scene. Notice the film angles and whatnot. So that's the so-called Death Star comparative. Not derivative of Star Wars by any means. The reviews of this premiered in LA in 79, March of 79. It was overseas, I guess, in 78. Variety magazine comment. Oh, and here's the other like crazy thing. So you had a high-powered music director who created the music. As we said, John Barry. The director of photography did the opening scene to The Sound of Music when Julie Andrews is up on the hill and the whole sweeping, whoosh, and yet he did this. Variety commented that the photography almost never convinces that this is actually taking place anywhere but on the movie screen, and special effects seem little more than a poor imitation of what's been done before. there you have it, folks.
Was it a masterpiece in bad filmmaking? That one said.
Yeah. It was a masterpiece of unintentionally bad filmmaking. If you are into that kind of stuff, this is available right now for free in 2 or 3 different places. One of them being the Freebie app inside of Amazon Prime. So if you want to subject yourself to this kind of emotional and psychological abuse, by all means do so. That was Star Crash.
Star Crash equals self-harm.
Watch Hasselhoff use a lightsaber. 29 with critics, 35 with users on Rotten Tomato. And at some point, I hope to share one with you that will actually be a 19.
Maybe the viewers, the Sheehannites, can see a little tear come down your face. Like I saw in the theater, and I was just like, wow.
You're not supposed to tell anyone.
I know, but I already spilled the beans though, so. Woof. I saw like the moisture, and I was like, what? Like that? And I'm like,
you got to be kidding me. Oh, so hard to believe, but apparently there's movies that are worse. Hard to believe. I remember, and just to finish on the Star Crash thing, I do remember that one coming out the year after Star Wars. I was like, oh, I want to go see it. I was like, oh, all science fiction suddenly is going to be awesome. And I didn't get to see it, and I'm so glad that I didn't.
It was a stinker.
I'm not Sheehan.
And he might be behind you.
He's not behind me.
Well, I'm his nephew, and he's not behind me.
No, I don't see him back there. He could be behind you.
Darth Pillow is Sheehan. The broccoli fart machine needs a little maintenance. So
if you know what a fog machine is, it's kind of like that.
The popcorn smell comes from the left side.
About 5'2" tall. He has 3 legs. Can I just hit you with a hammer over the head and then we'll talk? And there's medication.
And the one that burns so bright, Roy.